Hello and welcome to Tonic Studios. I'm Leo. I'm here today with the lovely Alison.
Hello.
And we're back with another Tonic tutorial for you where we bring you tips, techniques and tutorials. Today we're talking about tips for watercolour pencils. So another Tonic tutorial for you.
We love a tutorial.
We do. It feels like a while since we've done one of these. It's not actually been all that long, but it feels like it has been. So today we're talking all about our watercolour pencils. We've got a couple of tips for you on just some different ways that you can use them other than just colouring in.
Yes.
So hopefully this will be something that will give you some ideas or inspiration. As always, as we're going along, if you have any questions or comments, pop them into the comments box below for us and we will come back through and answer as many of those as we can.
I think also, if you're not a colourist, watercolours can be very scary.
They can, because you think instantly they're very arty. And
Yes.
if you're not a drawer, you're not an arty person, oh, well, I can't do that. I'm not arty.
Well, that's it. I never did, well, I did art probably for 1 year in school. Because I couldn't draw, I didn't feel I was welcome into the art group. But art is anything that's creative.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter, as long as you like it. That's the main thing. Do you like what you're creating? Then it's perfect. Just give it a go. Exactly. And it's the fun of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we talk about mindfulness with craft and art and things. Get that enjoyment out of it. Lose yourself for an hour, 2 hours, an afternoon if you want to. A day even.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just have fun.
I think watercolour pencils as well, as opposed to actual watercolour paint, they're a lot less
Paint
messy.
is really scary.
Paint is scary. Paint is very scary. They're a lot less messy. They're more portable maybe. Easier to set up and put away.
Yeah.
And because it's not a liquid medium or something, it is a pencil.
Yes.
You know, you could do the colouring part and come back to the watercolouring later. It doesn't all have to be done in one go.
No, it doesn't.
So I like that you know, you there's no time frame.
No.
Unlike with watercolour painting, it's like, well, the canvas is wet now. It's got to go on
It's
now.
got to be done.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's not like that. It's a very different situation. So
Yeah, you do the colouring. Could be your, I don't know, maybe you're on a bus or a train.
yeah,
You could just pop down the little table in front of you, do your colouring, watercolour when you get home. Or even if you're too scared to watercolour, use them as a normal pencil.
Absolutely, you can do that too.
Absolutely. Right, what have we got there?
So, what is tip number 1?
Let's have a look at our watercolours first, shall we?
Yes.
So we have 5 sets of watercolours. So it's just a rainbow of everything. So our first box is brilliantly vibrant. Look at the colours that appeal to you first. Are you a bright colour person? Are you a pastel? Do you like neutrals? There's a box here for you. These are dark shadows. So we're talking a little bit more earthy.
A bit more muted.
Yes. Then we have, I mean, you can see from the vibrance, they are vibrant.
That's kind of your classic rainbow, isn't it?
Absolutely. But also there's a black and a white in here. And I would say you need a white pencil.
Yes. Other side.
So I wasn't opening. So then we have elementary mid-tones. I am missing a pencil here and it's a violet, I believe. So similar to this, but the colours are going to be different. So if you want to mix and match, you want a little bit more shading, maybe these are the 2 that you want to go for. So pop them there. Then the last but one is our pastels. So again, they're similar colours, but they're obviously more gentle, very pretty. Just have fun. And then our very last one is our hair and skin colours. So obviously you're looking at very neutrals. You can see the colours that are well used. the ones that are a bit shorter. I would say get a good pencil sharpener.
Yes.
Because otherwise you're going to be sharpening forever and you're not going to get a good nib on it. So that is our last. So obviously we've got lots of pinks, lots of beiges, going up to dark browns, a little bit of grey. Because don't forget, you can layer these colours as well. You can mix colours. Your paintbrush will do the job for you. So they are all our colours. If you go onto our website, we also have these colour charts. Now I am a little bit naughty, and that's how I found out I had a missing pencil last night. I do take out of all the boxes.
I don't use just one either. I tend to have just all of them open on the desk.
Absolutely.
Go for it.
But you can download these sheets from the website. Just colour in a little swatch, and you know then each of these pages is one set of pencils. And it was only yesterday I found out that we haven't written what the pencils are. So right on the corner which set it is. So they're all there.
Nice.
I would definitely say have one of them hanging on the wall in your craft room.
You may even want two. You might want one that is coloured and then one where you've actually gone in with the water, so you can see how it looks once it's actually been blended with the water as well.
The other thing, you will need watercolour paper. There are various watercolour papers out there. I can't tell who are good, I can't tell who are bad, but the better ones for pencils tend to be a smoother paper.
Yeah, we've tested kind of a couple the last few days when we've been looking into this. One that doesn't have as much texture. You still need some texture because that's how it absorbs the water and does all that for you. But you don't want to have too much texture.
No, you don't. You don't. So, this is our watercolour paper. It's textured on one side, more highly textured. The other side is a little bit smoother.
Doesn't work as well on the smooth side.
No.
Tested, tried, wouldn't recommend.
No. And I don't know why. I don't have those answers. But we're going to go with that side. So I'm going to pick some colours now. I tell you what I don't have and I probably need is a baby wipe.
Baby wipe, yes. So when we were talking about obviously watercolour pencils making less mess in general, you need a little bit of water, a paintbrush or a water brush if you prefer to do it that way, and clean up wise a baby wipe and some kitchen towel is probably
that's it. That is it. So what am I going to do to start with? Let's talk about our brushes as well. So we have some brushes that are already filled with water. These are going to be used for some techniques, not for all. There's a medium, let me take these off. You'll probably find these on the website. And one is a medium nib, one is a fine nib. So let's make sure I've got the right one on each, because I'm not going to use those for the first technique. Then we've got some flat brushes and a round brush. So if I pop them there. I'm going to be doing stripes for the first one, so I'm going to use a flat brush. But then later on I'm going to use a round brush as well. So entirely up to you. But we've also got our aqua shimmers. It's a water-based product, so you can use this with your water pencils, and we'll show you a little bit of that as well later. So I've got a glass of water
not for drinking.
By the side of me. No, don't drink it. I did look at it a few times yesterday. I thought, no, Alison, don't drink. Don't drink. But I've also got a spritzer bottle. And it is entirely up to you. What are you more comfortable with? If a glass of water on the desk scares you, then don't use it.
Yeah.
You know, if you're a little bit clumsy, don't have it there. Just use your spray. So, what I'm going to do for the first one, I'm going to show you this. I'm going to do something like this. So shall I hold it up over there?
There we go.
I'm going to make a rainbow.
It's kind of almost like a sunrise kind of effect in the background, isn't it?
It is. And you could, if you wanted to, put the sun in there. You could do that, which would be lovely as well.
Yep.
But I hadn't, because I was just having a play and this is what happened. So we're going to start off, I'm going to start at the bottom with a darker green. So I should really have a little swatch by the side of me, shouldn't I? To see what colours these are. In fact, I've got a swatch there. Because sometimes, I think that's a green as well. So I like those two, and I'm going to mix a little bit of those. So use the side of your pencil. If you're going to have dark strokes like that, the chances are you're not going to blend them out.
Yeah.
If you go lighter from the side and over it a couple of times, you can put more pigment down and the chances they're going to blend nicer. So we'll go on the side and just go right across the page. And I think any of you, whether you've got any artistic ability or not, can do this. I have all faith in you.
Absolutely.
But I want to add a little bit more colour into that. Look at me, I'm putting them back in the right place as well.
It's very unusual.
So, I know. So I'm going to add a little bit. This is a brighter green. And I'm going to be mixing the two together. Then I'm going to go up one to a lighter green, because this is the grass. It'll be all right. So this is a bit more of a yellowy green. Just keep colouring. Don't worry if you're going off the edge. I tell you what, when you do use the side of your pencil though, you get a nice sharp nib for if you do need some detail work. And I'm going to add a little bit more. I've got another one that's a yellowy green here, and I'm going to add some little bits into that. Then we're moving up again to yellow. So I want a nice rich yellow. I don't want a lemon. I want like a yellow.
Ambery kind of
yes,
colour.
Yes. Because it's a rainbow. I want to see all these colours. It may be that you want to make a pastel rainbow. I'll just go over the edge a little bit there. And we could pop in a little bit of, what have I got here? This one is clementine slice, and it's a little bit orangey. So that brings out more amber. But then I can go up to my next colour and I can use this clementine.
And this could be any colours that you want. It doesn't have to
absolutely.
be. You don't have to do it in strict rainbow order or anything like that. Whatever you want, whatever's going to work for the project that you are putting together.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I tried some colours together yesterday, and I don't know what I was doing, but I couldn't get them to look right. They still looked like stripes. I couldn't get them mixing. So sometimes it is a play with the colours. I'm just going in with a darker orange again. Just adding a little bit more. Then we're going up to red. I think I've put one in the wrong place.
Yeah, that one, I think.
Was there?
It's okay.
Oh, it could be.
There
we are.
There we go.
So I'm going up to a red. So this one is, I'm going to say, oh, this is cardinal red. But you may want a little bit darker red in there. So you could go and add a little bit, let's have a little think. What have I got here? I'm going on to Memorable Rose. That's going to be a pinky colour, so I don't want that one. Where's the Pinot Noir? I think it's in here. Yes. And this is quite purpley, but it'll bring out the darker tones in the red. Then I'm going up again, so I'll use this one to do my purple layer. And I think because this is quite red and brown, I want to bring in some violet shades into this one. I think this is just have fun though. Just play and have some fun.
And you can always test all these colours, you know, if you cut yourself a little scrap.
Absolutely.
See how they mix together and maybe label some of the mixes that you do so that next time you come to do it, you know what's going to work well together.
And then my last one then, we're going right up to the end. And I want something very dark now. So I'm going to go and put a bit of blue as well in this one.
Nice.
So this is boysenberry. But I'm going to add some, there is one here called True Blue. Blue Jeans, that one is, I think it's probably this one. True Blue. So I'm going to pop some blue into that. There we go. So now we can start blending. The reason I've done all the colouring first, I don't want to be mixing a dry with a wet. Don't ever wet your nibs. Don't put your nib of your pencil in your water. Don't do that because you will ruin, it'll just go to mush in your pencil and you'll have nothing left. You can take a little bit off the edge of the nib with a brush, but just be careful.
I'd probably say like cut a bit off with a knife or something instead and do it that way.
Yes, you can do that too. You can do that too.
Adding water to your pencil.
So I'm just gonna mix this in. So I'm trying to keep to the one colour at the moment and I'm blending that all over. So you're not going to see the two different greens. It is going to be one colour. Okay. Then I'm going to take a wipe. You can have a wipe or piece of kitchen roll, whichever. And again, I'm going to go along to the next green.
So you're trying to keep a quite harsh line between
I am at the
colours.
moment because I don't want to mix the colours at this point. But later on, I'm going to wiggle it a little bit. Wiggle it just a little bit, isn't it? So we move on to the next one. Always make sure you've got clean water on your brush. Because if you're going to mix in muddy colours, then that's what your picture is going to be. You will get a little bit of colour in your water, but obviously try not to get too much.
Change it regularly if you need to.
Absolutely. There we go. So there's our orange. Also bear in mind, the more water that's on your brush, the paler your colours are going to be.
Because it doesn't just blend it lifts the colour up as well,
It does.
doesn't it?
It does. If you find you've put too much water on, you can always lift it up with a piece of kitchen roll. Because we all do these things, especially when you're practicing. I just want to mix that a little bit for there. There we go. If you're thinking at this point, that's not really the colour I want, then add a little bit more colour in. So then go again. You may find that it's not pigmented enough for you. At this point, you can add a little bit more colour. And then the last one then, which is the blues and the purples, we mix all that one in. So that's where I've started. So we've got quite harsh lines there. What if I wanted to mix them a little bit? So again, if I'm going from the purple back down to the yellow and green, make sure you haven't got any purple on your brush. You may need a little bit more water. There we are. But you can see they blend in here. And just muddy that line just slightly. and they will blend. But what I'm doing is, I'm not an artist, I can tell you that now, but I like to have a play. And that's what I would say I'm doing with this. There's nothing that I'm thinking, oh gosh, I'm being very technical. You can see I'm not. I'm really not. This is something that anyone who picked up a pencil and a paintbrush the first time would be able to do. So just muddy those lines a little bit. And they become more gentle. There we are. And then the last one then on the end is the purple and the lilac-y. There we go. So I would put that to one side to dry. And I'm quite happy with that, so I would leave it at that. So what have I done with this? The only thing, maybe my orange and my red. Should we add a little bit more colour to those? I'm thinking they could be a little bit pale. Oh, that's my red, not my orange. I'm going to go over that a little bit more to get a little bit more contrast. And then we'll add a little bit more to the red. Now my paper's wet now, so you can see it goes on differently. There we are. Just give that a little wiggle at the bottoms to blend. And again, the same here. Now I didn't dry my brush off there. And you can see I've taken a bit more. I know I had a little bit of orange there to start with, but I have taken a bit more into it. That's better. I wanted a bit of a darker colour.
Nice.
So my brush is clean now, ready to go for the next bit. So what are we going to do with that now? Well, we have a couple of ideas here. Let me wipe that, and I'm going to wipe it with, there we are, we'll put that on there. So I've done a little bit of stamping along the bottom, popped it on a black layer. Now the reason I've used a black layer is because it makes these colours pop.
We did some experimenting with this yesterday. So we found bright colours work better on black.
They do.
Pale colours work better on white.
They do. But also, the same technique I've started with, I did a die cut. So I had one sheet of card. Again, I did the rainbow effect. So I cut this die cut out of the centre. Then I cut another die cut in black, and the flowers from here I pop back in. So out of one die cut, obviously you cut two die cuts, but out of one sheet of colour in, I've got two nice cards.
And they're really cute as well.
They are little diddy ones. So should we do a little bit of stamping?
Why not?
Why not? I have got one I did earlier because I don't want to stamp onto wet card.
No, because you'll find that your ink will run with your stamping.
Absolutely.
And that's not the look you're going for, I imagine.
No, not today anyway.
No.
So this one, you can see I've got some orange in the yellow. I've done a little bit more wiggling. You can get the children to do this. They will love it,
because it's just pencil and water. It's a great one for the children to get involved in, I think. Obviously supervised, as always, but
it's summer holidays. You always want something to do.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pop some magnets on here, all up the top, because I'm going to stamp along the bottom. So let's get my stamp set. So this is a stamp club we had, and it's called Compassion and Poppies. I know it's not in stock, but I'm sure you've got something very, very similar. The only bit I wanted was flowers that are just in a line. And I'm absolutely sure you've got something like this in your crafty stash. So I am bringing the ends of the flowers just off the bottom of my page. If you find that they don't come off the bottom of your page, take a black pen and draw them to the end, because they look as though they float in otherwise, and they looked a little bit strange, because that was what I did with this one. I lined the stamp with the edge and I thought it didn't look quite right, so I just took a black marker and extended it.
Oh,
as you do.
Sneaky sneaks now.
Well, you all want a little bit of a sneaky tip, don't you?
I like it.
So I'm taking my black shadow ink, and again, this matches the black layer that we're going to pop behind.
And I think with this much colour in the background, if you tried to stamp in anything else, you would lose it. It's going to have to be black.
You could possibly emboss with white.
Yes.
That would be another one that I would say. So because I've got a textured card, I am going to stamp twice. There we are, a little bit of a squeaky desk there.
Nice.
So I want to move it so that it goes right across the bottom. So we're going to do the same there, making sure my stalks are coming off the end. Oh, would help. I'd have had a big square, wouldn't I?
You would have done. That would have been fun.
I got a baby wipe there. Anything's cleared up with a baby wipe. So again, press down. There we are. And I'm just looking at this and I've stamped on the wrong side. I should have stamped on the green end, shouldn't I? Doesn't matter. This is entirely up to you. Do I stamp it again? Yes. I did the other one twice, didn't I? There we go. That's it. That's what I wanted. Just pop top of my ink. Take those off. And I'm going to wipe my mat. There we go. I can pop that away now. So we've got our poppies, different end, but hey, doesn't matter. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to add a little bit of colour on top. So because they're already on a red background, I'm going to do a darker red again. So I'm possibly going to go maybe burgundy-ish. What's this one? This one is Pamplona Purple. So I think I'm going to have that for my shading, and I'm going to go, this one is Pinot Noir. Do I want to go that dark? What's this one? We'll have that one, I think. And that one is Memorable Rose.
Or Memorial Rose, as you
suggested. Is it Memorial?
No, it is Memorable.
Memorable.
But yesterday.
Yes, we did have a memorial, didn't we?
Yeah.
We did have a memorial yesterday. So, colour in your poppies. And again, you can colour these whatever colour you fancy, because poppies come in any colour. And I think
those nice bright California ones that are orange.
I love them.
I've got a couple of volunteer ones that have just popped up in the patio in my garden from absolutely nowhere.
Oh my word. I had, when we first moved to the house, it was the first summer that we'd been in the house, and these gorgeous oriental poppies popped up in the garden.
Nice.
And I didn't know they were there. What a surprise. So just keep going. I'm not going to do them all because you'll be here all day. So I'm going to add a little bit of shading because I want a darker colour in the middle, because they're always darker in the middle, aren't they? There we are. So just put in a little bit of this just around, and again on the base because I want a little bit more. And this time you can see I'm using the nib of my pencil because I want a different effect. There we are. We'll leave it at that. And I'm going to use my Aquaflow marker. No, I want a fine one. Make sure.
Yeah, don't twist the lid off.
No, don't. So again, because I'm using a fine brush, because I don't want this mixing with the rest. And this is why you need it to be dry as well. Because if the background was wet, then this would bleed into it.
Your stamping would also bleed.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There we go. So just fill in them. But the other thing you could do with this, you could also use, make sure you clean your nib afterwards, because you can guarantee, squeeze a little bit of water out. You can guarantee the next time you pick it up, you're going to put it straight on your project.
Yeah, and you'll forget.
Absolutely. This is a water-based product as well, so I'm giving it a little bit of a squeeze.
I used to love doing this.
Oh, it's lovely, isn't it?
If you've got any water-based ink as well, so not our hybrid inks, but if you've
Yes.
got water-based ink, you can pick some of that up with your
Yes, you can.
aqua shimmers as well, and that's a lovely technique. You just get that subtle little hint.
It's not glitter, but it's a lovely sheen. We'll come back to this later on when it's dry, I think. So again, clean the nib, because you can guarantee you will pick it up. The other thing, I've done it earlier, but I haven't done it down here. Make sure you shake this to start with. You'll hear the ball bearing inside. This is Aqua Shimmer Glitter Gloss. We've also got
the Opal Quartz
Opal
one.
Quartz, I
That'd
would
be
say,
nice.
is another one. But that's got a pinky tinge. So if you've got pink in your colour, I think that would be beautiful. So that is our landscape design. So I've got a background to go on there. They do need trimming down, so I'm not going to do that at this moment. And then it sits on the card like that. Have as much or as little black showing as you want. And then I've got a little sentiment that will sit there.
Nice.
So this one we did as a landscape, and this one we've done as a portrait. The other thing you can add to this, again when it's dry I would say, is some little Mountain Dew drops, because these will also pick up the colour that you've got in the background. There we are. So that's our first card done.
Nice. Very pretty. So a nice simple sort of technique for a background for you, that a paintbrush and a couple of pencils, I'm sure anyone can give that one a go.
Absolutely. But also I think this is an afternoon, you know, when you think, I want to do a bit of crafting. I don't know what I want to do. Just do the backgrounds and then decide later on what you want to make with our background. But have a little go. Have fun.
Okay, a little bit of TV magic. We've done a little bit of a switcheroo. So my turn now. I'm going to do another, I guess it's kind of a background technique.
Yeah.
We were looking for something to layer under some die cuts, and this seemed to work quite nicely. So I have some of our watercolour card. I'm going to snip a piece down. Oh look, it's the last piece.
Wow.
Oh dear.
There is more there.
There is.
Because I put a book in as well.
Nice. So I'm going to just... Mostly because you don't want to watch me do the entire sheet, it would take forever. Okay, so I have a little piece of card. Obviously you do a piece as big or as little as the piece that you need in the background. And I guess my inspiration for this was like some classical masterpieces was where I was going.
You were going a bit Monet yesterday.
I think I was. So I'm going to bring in your little swatch thing. And now I'm not using the very side. I'm kind of creating a flattened edge, I guess. Again, I don't want the harsh point of the pencil because that's going to give you the wrong kind of look.
But there are times where, you know, when you've done your colouring and you want to make some definition, I would say that is when you're going to use your harsh point, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly. So I am just doing some, oh look, I'm going to pull all of these out of all the different tins now.
That's okay, they can all go back later.
So I'm just kind of doing some scribbly circles, I think is the way I'm going to describe this. And just put some colour down. I want a bit more blue in here. Yes, oh that was a bit harsh.
But again, I think it's a nice little playing afternoon, isn't it? You know, we're not going to kid you that there's techniques involved in this. They are just ideas that you could do. Yeah. I got no doubt you could do these. Just have a play.
Neither of us are artists. You know, I'm sure if an actual artist was watching us,
they'd be horrified.
Probably. I'm so sorry if that's you. But then I think if you're a paper crafter, maybe you're not an artist, and maybe arty kind of things are a bit scary and a bit out of your comfort zone.
I think colouring is scary. I can do a little bit of colouring. Shading scares me. But I still like to have a go. And I think that is most crafters. They like to think that there is a little bit of an artist in them, and they are willing to have a go.
Yeah.
So I would definitely say, give these a bash.
Definitely. And especially this one, you know, if this is going to go under a pattern layer, you're not really going to see a lot of it.
Imagine these though on your boxes. Like you've created watercolour backgrounds, and then you've got the pattern of the box on top of it.
That'd be lovely.
I think they'll be delightful. And again, you've lost yourself for that afternoon. You've put some music on. You've put an audio book on.
I was going to say, that's normally my go-to.
I love an audio book.
At the moment, I'm definitely in an audiobook place right now.
I'm in a Linda LaPlante place at the moment.
Oh.
Little bit of murder.
Oh dear.
I know. Look out.
Yeah, indeed.
I just like the way... I mean, the books have been about 16 hours long, so they've been very long books. But I like the way they've spun the story. You know, to make a story last 16 hours is a pretty good book in my eyes.
Definitely. Value for money on that one.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm just alternating the pencils. I don't want the same colour next to each other if possible, but just fill in.
I think this is a good one for the children as well, though.
Definitely.
What about backgrounds for your Christmas cards?
Yes.
And then you could have, I don't know, say you've got nice blues in the background, you've created your scenery, and then you've got a nice Christmas tree cut in white on the front of it. Yeah. That would be really pretty, wouldn't it?
Yeah, silhouettes are good for going over things like this, so a plain black or a plain white or a plain grey even. Something like that.
Or even one with a little bit of a drop shadow.
Yes. You have silver with like a black shadow, that'd be nice.
Do you know, I remember doing something like this when I was in school. We used to create backgrounds with crayons, and you had to crayon quite heavily. And then on top of all that, you've got all your pretty colours, and then you'd go over it in black. And then you'd scrape away the top colour, and you'd see all the pretty colours underneath. So that was a good afternoon.
If a glass of water on the desk is too scary for you, this is where I would tend to go. Bit of water on there. I've gone for a smaller flat brush. You could use a round brush, whatever you want. I'm going to grab in a second a clean wet wipe as well. So I'm going for quite a lot of water on this. There's a bit of fuzz on there. So I want my brush to be fairly wet, and I am just going to go in circles on the paper as well. And you will notice that as you go over those different areas where you've got different colour pencils, the colour kind of changes and moves, and you're also moving with it the colour that you've got on your brush from the last bit that you did.
I like that. I really like that.
So you can see where my pencil, I don't know if you can quite see that, where my pencil is a little bit harder. I'm getting more of like the definite scribble lines in the background. So this is why you want to try and go as soft as possible. You want a nice flat part of your pencil.
That's lovely.
So just going all the way around.
It definitely is very Monet though.
Oh yeah, especially in a second.
But that is a lovely background again.
Yes, and it's...
And if you don't want the colours to mix that much, you could wipe your brush in between, couldn't you?
You could.
I like the mixed colours, mine.
Yeah, I'm not that precious. I quite like the fact that I've got some blues, I've got some teals. They kind of all mix into each other. Okay.
It looks a bit like a stormy sky.
It does a bit. It could be that. And then I am going to take a... Oh, what's this? Bright honeysuckle pencil. And I have here a knife, and I'm literally just going to scrape this.
If this makes you a little bit scary, you could sort out your paper shavings, your pencil shavings, couldn't you?
You could. I'm literally just taking off tiny little shavings of the pink all over there. I think that should do. You don't need a lot, and it hasn't damaged the... Let me just show you how this looks. So you can barely tell that I've touched that.
Make sure you've got a sharp knife though.
Yes. And put the lid back on it once you're done.
Yes.
And then I'm just going to hold this down and use the end of my paintbrush. Boop. And I'm going to give it just a little spritz. It's kind of like working with a shimmer powder at this point.
Yes.
I'm now activating my little shavings.
That's the point. You could put a little bit of shimmer powder on the top of this.
You absolutely could. That'd be nice. Something else for you to try. So at this point, you're going to want this to dry. You can, again, if you've put too much water on, you can blot some of it off if you want to. You can go in with a heat tool and kind of move it. Just bear in mind that if you are using a heat tool, the air is going to push the water, and as the water moves, the colour is going to move with it. I mean, you can see here I've got a couple of little swirls happening here where the water is kind of pooling. There we go. That looks all right. I think I'm happy with that. So here is the one I did earlier. So obviously a lot more colour going on this. And then we were saying, well, you know, what kind of pattern layer would this go behind? This is where we made some discoveries with colours. So I have here a white patterned panel. It's got like butterflies and swirls cut into it. If we put this over, you really lose all of that background colour. You can barely see that at all. If I hold this up to that front camera there, you can really not see that background colour at all.
And it's quite a dark colour as well, isn't it? It's surprising
how much you lose that. Whereas if I bring in, this is just a background panel. We've not even finished poking it out, look, but with a black panel, and you can see it so much more. So again, if I just hold this up to here, hopefully you can see that on there. But it's a nice technique. So obviously, Monet's Water Lilies is where we were going with this one. Now, we were talking about the scribble lines. If you go with the point of your pencil, hopefully you can see in there, you get more of the line, and I didn't like how that looked. So this is the back of my watercolour card. There's that textured side. This is the more smooth side. And you definitely, it doesn't move as well. No. The water kind of absorbs, and you get this weird kind of water mark going on here. So I wouldn't recommend for this technique anyway. It may work for some others. Let us know if it works for you. But yeah, for this I wouldn't recommend the smooth side. I would definitely use the textured side. And then, you know, we were Starry Night as well. Because if you're going to rip off one master artist,
you may as well do the lot.
Absolutely. So a nice bluey background with
that would be a nice one to put the shimmer onto as well.
This one would absolutely. I think I would go with like one of the darker grey ones, maybe like a storm cloud or something like that, and there just to get a bit more dark colour in there. Yeah, just lots of different blues, and then I've scraped on some yellow and a little bit of white in there and spritzed it as well. And these also work behind these lovely patterned panels too.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Because you think that white would work with anything, but again, you've lost it there.
Yeah, you see more of the colour with the bluey one.
Yes, I'm not sure whether it's because the pattern is busier as well.
Could be. So
it could be a combination of both, couldn't it?
So I would, if I was going to make a card with this now, I think probably what I would do is cut like a strip of this and have a strip of my pattern over the top, and then maybe have like a sentiment coming off it. Nice. But on a plainer background. Yes. So keep just a small piece of pattern. I don't think I would do the entire back of my card like this. I think that would be too much. So yeah. once we have done some of this, maybe I'll make a card with this and show you how it's turned out.
Yeah, we can share it on the Facebook page.
You know, have a look at your local master artists and see what kinds of backgrounds you can rip off from them too.
Well, look at the colours as well.
Exactly, and that's all I was looking at. I was thinking like, you know, murky greens and blues and then just a little bit of hot pink just to lift it all up a bit. There we go.
I love it. So for technique 3, I saw this on Pinterest, I want to say.
Or Instagram, it might have been.
It may have been. I can't remember what it was. But it was done with proper paints. And you know I've told you, that scares me. But I thought, can I do it with pencils? So the answer is clearly yes, because this is the card
Back bit
that I've been able to make. Oops. And again, this was purely a play. Right, let's have a little look then. What have we got? A die. Just one circle die. Don't need a big die, just a small one. So firstly now, I'm going to select some colours. So again, bubbles tend to be a little bit rainbowy. So that was what I was going with. So we'll have a red, we'll have an orange, I want a nice bright one, so we'll have that. We'll have a yellow. You see I'm picking all the bright colours today. We'll have a green, a blue and a purple. Is that enough? I'm doing Richard of York, Give Battle in Vain. What am I missing?
Indigo violet.
Yeah, we forget that one. We'll just go purple.
Okay.
Okay, so all I'm doing, take the nib of your pencil and just draw a line. If you haven't got a circle die, you could draw around an egg cup, because that was the technique I saw used. It was an egg cup. Can't remember the name, I'm really sorry.
Yeah, they basically just dipped it into paint.
They dipped it into paint.
Put it onto watercolour paper and smushed
Too
it.
scary.
Yeah, no.
Far too scary for me. There we are. So there is the start. So then I kind of moved up. So we overlapped a little bit. Now I don't want red next to red. So we'll go blue here. Take it up a bit further. Then we'll go...
Then it'll be red now.
Yeah, red. I'm going the wrong way now. We'll have a bit of red, we'll have a bit of orange. And I'll pop in a little bit of yellow there. And then you just keep going. So I will go up there. I don't want them all in a straight line. That's not what I want. So we'll go next one. So we'll have a bit of green here. And then we come in this way then. So I think we'll go a bit of violet. We'll go the reverse this way. Bit of blue. And then we'll have red. And then we're going to come down the bottom. Maybe we'll go that way. No, we'll go that way. You see how indecisive I am. So we'll have red.
So I used to be indecisive,
Orange.
but now I'm not so sure.
That's the one. That is the one. Yellow. I'm going to miss out the green because it's off the edge of the paper. And then I'm going to go blue and purple. So that is my starting point. So now I've got my wipe because I don't want to mix these colours too much. So I'm dipping my pencil. I'm not dipping my pencil. It is my brush. Bring in just from the one colour, bring it into the centre. And you don't want to bring too much colour as you're going up. You can see as you're going in, it's getting lighter, and that is exactly what I want. I want the centre of the bubble to be whiter. So again, we'll go up to the next one. We'll bring in a little bit of orange. Move that around. Obviously, the more you touch that outer edge, the more colour you're going to bring in. And by the time you get to the centre, you've lost all your colour again. So now we're on purple. Oh, we got a little bit of orange there, but that's fine.
It doesn't matter if they merge a little bit, does it?
It doesn't. We bring the purple in a bit more. And I'm going to leave it at that this time. But I'm always bringing the colours in from the outside. Next one then. Oh, I'm going to water. You could do this as well with a fine detail brush. Bring your blue in.
This might be a good one as well with your aqua shimmer, so you get the kind
Absolutely.
of shimmer on your bubbles.
Absolutely. We'll do one of these with the shimmer. Bring the blue in a bit further. And what you're going to find is as they dry, they look different. I think the water moves around in the paper and they definitely look different. The more colour you want to bring in, just keep going over the edge. There we are. So there's our blue. And then we'll have a green. Make sure you go right up to that edge or you don't get the colour. There we go. Oh, somebody on the roof.
Seagull maybe? I'm not sure.
Quite possibly. We have a lot of seagulls here, don't we?
We do. They like to stomp around above the skylight in our office as well.
They do. They do. So there we go. That's as far as I want to bring that in. And then the last one is yellow. So I'm going to bring that in. And again, you can see there's no technique again. This is what we wanted to bring you today. We wanted to bring you water pencils that are not scary. And hopefully we've managed to do that. I want a little bit more water there. Just to bring that in. And then mix them in the middle. So there's the water brush one. Then we'll do the next one with the shimmer. So again, start at one colour. I'm starting away from this one first.
Yeah, give it a chance to dry so it doesn't bleed in.
So I'm going to bring the red in first. If it does bleed a little bit outside, then don't worry about it.
It's fine.
I think the idea is don't be too precious. You don't need to be perfect.
No.
It just needs to be eye-catching to you. So wipe your colour off and move on. So we've got a little bit of orange here.
So do you have a tin of watercolour pencils at home that you maybe receive them in a mystery bag or a goodie bag or something?
Absolutely.
Or in a bundle and you've not had any idea what to do with them? Let us know in the comments if you're going to try one of these techniques, if one of them has inspired you to crack that tin open and have a go.
Oh, I hope so. I really hope so. Please don't be too scared about it all.
It's just a bit of cardstock at the end of the day.
And if it's something you think, nah, it's not for me, use it as a background.
Yep. Die cut something out of it, die cut sentiment out of it.
Yes. Yes, like the love one there. It is so, you know, even if you think, oh, I can see all the lines, I don't like this, I don't like that, it'll be fine. There we go. And then the last one then is our blue. So all I'm doing is just swirling it around.
So just sort of picking up some of the colour and then moving it where you want the colour to be.
That's it. I want a little bit of colour. I don't want a white patch in the middle, so I'm kind of mixing them in the centre. I'm going to bring a little bit more blue in, I think. There we go. So that's one with a water brush, one with a normal brush, and one with a glitter gloss.
Aqua shimmer.
That's the one. A glitter gloss aqua shimmer. Couldn't think of the word there. It's not like me, is it? So then, I'm not going to do it all because you're going to be so bored. We've added a couple of iridescent circles to add to the theme. And again, you can see the outer edge is getting a little bit more, not so even. And I think that is what you want. This was my play-in when I started. And I just kept trying different things. How much colours did I want in it? How many colours did I want in my circle? Have a lovely little play. This could just be a circle to go behind a circle of sentiment.
Yep.
But I can't wait to see what you're doing with these. Don't forget, photos on the website. We want to see. Have we inspired you at all today? Let us know. So that's our
bubbles.
bird.
I don't even know what
So bubbles.
Bubbles, yeah.
Bubbles.
We don't have a name for this. It is just bubbles.
Yes. It's playing. Our last technique we're going to show you today is kind of a no-line watercolouring.
It's along the same lines as a no-line watercolour.
It is. Yes. It is. We have got a colour here because if we did it too pale, you wouldn't see it.
Yes.
But I would say go for the palest ink you've got.
And I think for this to work the best, you want it to be a water-based ink as well, because you want it
Yes.
to blend in so you
Yes.
don't have a line. Ultimately, no line watercolouring.
Mine is done with a hybrid ink because that was what I had there. So mine is not going to move. And I've done this in Marble Statue, I believe.
Which is one of the palest ones that we have. But again, it's so that you can actually see what we're doing.
Yes, yes. So I had a little play. I probably won't colour it all, but I'll do some of it for you. So start with your palest colour first. So I've gone peaches, a little bit of orange, a little bit of yellow, a little bit of pink. I've just added a bit of everything in this one. So we'll do this one big flower here, I think. So I've gone quite pale to start with. So I'm kind of going to go towards my... haven't used this one much, have we? I'm going to go towards... this is Barely Bisque. And I'm going to give it a good coverage. And I'm going to do all the petals. I've kind of made a flat area on here, so I'm not using that sharp nib.
Yeah, because you want this to all blend. You don't want to have any strokes or lines in it this time.
No, I don't. So that is my starting point. And then I want to add something a little bit darker. So I think that one possibly, this one is Desert Camel, I think it is. I'm reading them all upside down. Yeah. So we go a little bit darker at the base. This is a bit brownier than I would have wanted, but that's okay. So I can add a little bit of that. And then I'm going to start watercolouring. There we go. Last one. So you can see the way I'm colouring. There's no technique as to how I'm putting the colour down. I'm just going for it.
Other than using the flat piece of the pencil rather than a pointy bit, so you don't end up with the lines. But then I guess it depends what you're colouring. Maybe you're colouring an animal. Maybe you want some
you maybe want a bit of texture. So I'm starting at the lighter end, and then I'm going to the darker end, and I'm going to bring the colour up. There's quite a bit of water on my brush, but I want these, you know when you have a watercolour picture, the colours, you've kind of got that line on the outside, you've got the watermarks in it. That is what I want from this one. We haven't really wanted that on the ones we've done up to now, have we? There we go.
So if you were to do this, if you were to stamp in a water-based ink, you would probably want to put all of your colour down first, because as soon as you start adding water, your lines are going to disappear.
Yes, they are.
Which is the idea. A no-line watercolour is basically you shouldn't be able to see too much, if any, of the outline, basically.
Yeah, which is, it's gorgeous. Don't have too much water on your brush either.
Yeah, you want enough to move it, but not so much that you're flooding the paper.
No, you don't want to soak it. You can always add more, but you can't take it away. So that is my first colour. And I'm quite happy with that. But I want a little bit more colour in there. It's not dark enough for me. So I'm going to go to, this one is Soft Apricot. And again, I want a little bit more colour around that middle. And the more colour you've got down, the wetter your paper is, it kind of moves differently. It's very smooth now. It's not like colouring with a pencil. It's, I can't think what it's like. It's just a very smooth tip. There we are. So it's quite harsh lines, but again, I'm going to move it out. You don't get that scratchiness that you sometimes get with a pencil. So again, move this out a little bit. I want the darker colour around the centre, but I also want to move it out a bit. So just blend. And then my centre then, I'm going to pop a little bit of, what should we go for? I've got pink on that one, but I might go more orangey on this one, I think. So we can have a little bit different. Now there is already water in the centre of this because I can feel it colouring differently. And we'll do the centre.
So the water's kind of leached through the paper.
It has, it has. But that's not a problem. So again, I'm going to move this a little bit. And I'm moving it from the outside into the middle because I want to have more colour in the middle than on the outside.
So generally when you lift up your brush, you leave colour behind.
Yes.
So where you put your brush down, you pull the colour away from that section, and then where you lift up from the paper, that's where the colour kind of pulls, isn't it?
Yes.
Because you pull the water in that direction.
That's it. So I'm happy with that. I think I do want a little bit of glitter in the centre.
Glitter all the things.
Absolutely. So that can have a little bit of glitter there. And then, do I want a bit more colour? It's looking a bit pale on that outside again. I think where it's dried, it's gone a little bit paler. So I'm going to put another layer down there. And you can always add more pigment. There we are. And I'll do a little bit of a blend on there. Not much because the colour's already there. And again, I'm always going from outside in. There we are. That's better. I'm happy with that. So we'll do a leaf as well. Again, pick your base colour, go lightest first. And I think that's in everything you colour. Always go light and then go darker. So we'll do this smaller leaf here. So this one is Willow Creek.
Sorry if you can hear all that. I've no idea what's going on outside today.
I don't know either. Possibly delivery or something.
Maybe.
There we are. So then I'm looking at the veins then, and I'm going to go a little bit darker. So this one is Village Green. So we're going to bring that in for the veins. And I am using the tip of the pencil for this one because the veins are a definite thing. I want to see a line there. And then we'll, again, do the outer edge first. Oh.
That would be why there's so much noise outside today.
Absolutely, that was Simon. Just popping his head in. There we go. So now I'm going to go over the vein then. And then you decide, is that enough? Do I want a little bit more? Do I want a little bit around the edges? And I kind of feel I do, but I'm going to go a little bit brown.
So kind of adding a shadow.
Yes.
And I like this. I think this helps to give your image more definition on the page, doesn't it?
Absolutely. So I'm only going around the outside a little bit. Just to bring a little bit of texture in. And I'm happy with that. Again, you go back to this if you want to add more later, you add more later. After I'd finished this, when I bring that one in, I thought, I don't know, there's something missing. So I went all the way around with the pale blue. And I got a feeling it was this one. Let me try this on a scrap. That one. Yeah, that's the one. So I've gone with the palest of the blues that I've got. I'll only do a little bit. I don't want a harsh edge.
So yeah, no scratchy lines.
No scratchy lines.
I think this would work really nicely with a pale grey as well.
It would. It would. But you kind of want something that's a contrast to whatever you've got your main image in. So then I'm going to take my brush and just pull it outwards. Similar to the bubbles, we want this to pull outwards from the image. So we pick up the colour and come out with it. There we go. And it doesn't take that long. You can see this. This is something you could achieve in a spare hour.
Definitely. And a nice way to spend an hour as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that you can see from that image there with a bit of blue. If it's not enough blue, you add a little bit more. Maybe we'll pop a tiny bit more around that leaf. So this one, rather than do straight lines, do your circly bit. And then just pull it out. There we go. And that is my colouring. So here's one I made earlier in true Blue Peter style. And I think that makes a lovely card to send to someone as a thank you.
Very, very pretty. I really like that one. So hopefully these techniques, tips, whatever you want to call them, have given you some ideas to grab that tin of watercolour pencils off the shelf, put them to good use, do something with them. Don't forget, if you try any of these, do show us what you've been making. You can pop your projects, photos into our Facebook group. So that's the Tonic Studios official Facebook group. You can join there and share all of your ideas and make some projects in there. Or we are across social media at Tonic Studios, and you can use the hashtag #ShowTonic to show us what you've been making. If you have any questions or comments, anything you want to share, if you're an artist and we have horrifically offended you by very badly using watercolour pencils, let us know in the comments below. We will come back and answer any questions that you have as soon as we possibly can.
But I don't think anyone should be excluded.
I don't think so either. I'm just kidding.
I think you should be able to have a go.
Definitely, definitely.
Just
if
have
you have
fun.
a tin, get them off the shelf, dust them off maybe. Give them a go. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you have enjoyed this, and we'll see you all again very soon.
Happy crafting!